So I stumbled across a clip about a month ago, and it led to me getting this video. But, when it came to the actual video, I can't find the video no more, so I can't reference it really. They got like the podcast thing in the background, but it's like a 40-minute podcast. I skipped to the end, so it's about to be 7 minutes of them talking about Atlanta men. So we gonna watch that.
Because we're about to get into Atlanta men.
Right, because we're about to
get
seriously.
We haven't
the
been
long distance thing has been
exploring
working for
that
years.
here.
So before we end, this has been amazing. We want to talk a little bit about these Atlanta men. Ew.
So what I found, I'll start it off, please.
Okay.
Okay, so we talking about the men that's from here?
Yes. Atlanta men. So when I first came here, I got on Tinder. This was 7 years ago. And I met someone, right? And he is like the token Atlanta man. Mm. Okay? And what I call Atlanta men are super singles.
Yes.
Do you know what a super single... What do you think a super single is?
A man that lives by himself, don't know how to do anything with a couple, travels by himself.
Single.
What else?
Career single.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only goal.
What do you mean?
Like that's the career. Is just to stay single and just be a serial dater.
Their career single. Okay.
Yes.
What do you think a super single is?
Being a super single.
Right.
Stay by himself. Don't do too much. He's just dating.
Yeah.
He's just dating until he finds what he's looking for.
So for me, a super single are those things, but he wants to be in a relationship, but he really doesn't. Like he is so satisfied with just dating, and he feels like he is the prize of it all.
Oh,
okay.
Atlanta man.
Yes.
They do be like that.
And that is where the problem lies to them. So they are going to unpack that. But before we get to this, I want to just give you a little bit of context because I fast forward and listen to a little bit of this. This is a marriage podcast. It says, Dear Future Husband, if you didn't see that in the background. None of them are married, of course, because that's why it's Dear Future Husband. And they're talking about dating with the pursuit of marriage and stuff like that. The chick in the lime green who was leading this topic, I've seen her say, that her toxic trait is that she has like a low tolerance or zero patience for immaturity and XYZ, so all that stuff. But the other thing I heard her say earlier in the video is that she puts up her masculine guard. Like she turns masculine or whatever to guard herself from whatever. I didn't get the context because I didn't care because I was trying to find this part. But I just want you to know that because I'm not about to react to all 40 minutes. Just to give you a little bit of context.
That's what I found in meeting Atlanta men.
Right.
I dated one seriously, but others I just went on dates with. And oh my God, they had that same kind of attitude. Been single for years, has his career. That's what he's focused on. He does not care about any kind of serious relationship. Right? That's Atlanta men.
But you just tapped on it. They know they're the prize. Like they're.
What do you mean they know
they're the prize? They're not the prize. They're delusional.
They
You see how they just rushed aggressively to cut her off, interrupt her, correct her. They were not letting her get that off because that's a big point of, I don't want to say contention, but that would have been something to where they were going to have to debate. And they not there to debate. They not there to disagree. You get on the same page with us so we can have this good echo chamber sit down. No, this is what you were supposed to say. Just to be clear, these men are delusional. You said that they know they're the prize. No, they're wrong. Let's be clear. You know that they're wrong. You know that they're. So that's what they did. They tried to get her on code. They tried to get her on the same page because you can't have no room for disagreement on a female podcast where they got all these wine bottles. They got the setup. They eating chocolate-covered strawberries and stuff like that. They all got to be on the same page.
think they know that they're the prize. But the few that I've encountered just out and about, mingling and stuff, is they are entitled.
See, this is that amateur video editing too, because why is her mouth not tracked up with the vocals? Now we looking like a Chinese Bruce Lee flick from the 70s and stuff like that. Like, what are we doing?
And they are accustomed
Yes.
to a certain behavior, a certain characteristic
Aggressive
of
women.
Okay.
aggressive
women.
But also, how
It's
many
true.
women to
Submissive
one man in Atlanta?
women in
Is
the
it
It
South.
like
doesn't even matter.
double digits? But
It is, yeah.
those women flock to them. They
Yes.
cater to them.
I noticed
They're
something
obsessed
different
with
in
them.
Atlanta because I'm from New York, right?
Yeah.
Women in New York, we're like stush. We, don't talk to
Right.
me. It's going to be
Yeah, because
hard
the guys
to talk
are
to me.
aggressive and they're
right?
gonna approach you every time.
Yes.
But here, I was taken aback when I saw how women would send men drinks and
Exactly.
aggress
Overly
towards them.
overly submissive
Oh
early
my
on. You be
God.
like,
So a man expects that every single time until they
Right.
meet you, me, you.
right,
Right?
yeah. And we gotta be the ones that challenge it.
It's easy to react to these because some of the things that are said is so ridiculous, but it's kind of hard to keep up with some of the things that they say because it's just in that small little bit that we watch, there's so much that I just want to address. There's so much I want to address. The first thing that we have to go back to is, remember, they all tried to get on code saying that the men aren't the prize, right? And that men think they're the prize and they're not the prize, right? What did they do after that? They talked about the reality for these men. They talked about the reality. What is the reality? A lot of these chicks in Atlanta are, as they say, aggressive. Which, what does that mean? That means these women are approaching these guys. That means these women are making advances towards these guys. That means these women are expressing that they are interested in these guys. That's what it means. Now, when we get past that, they take it a step further by basically saying that these chicks are obsessed with these men. They're obsessed with these men. But then on top of that, they mention that these women are submitting to these men early. So this is the funny thing. They pointed out that Atlanta men are a problem and then talked about how, these women, the women of Atlanta or the women in Atlanta, treat these guys, and these guys think they're the prize, but they're not. Based on the reality and the picture that you just painted, these women don't know it, but you just basically painted the picture of why they're the prize. Because these women, absolutely, they have women in abundance who want to be submissive to them, who are obsessed with them, and who are aggressively trying to pursue them. So it's like, how are they not actually the prize? They're not the prize because just the four of you at that time, because you said until they run into somebody like you, or me. So the four of y'all determine that these guys are not the prize. You should say for you, because if you're going to sit there and say that the women all throughout the city, when it comes to these men, be on these men like this, the first thing I can say is I guarantee it's not like that for all the men down there. So these are men that you are clearly interested in or that you have your eye on, and guess what? Everybody got their eye on them too. So these guys are clearly the prize. The guys you were talking about, they are clearly being treated like the prize. And that's the reality that they just said it out of their own mouths. Now let's go back to what the chick in the pink said. She said that these men are delusional. Tell me this. How is a man delusional when his reality is that of the man that is the prize? When he is being treated like the prize by an abundance of women, except the four that are at that table. I think the delusion is a person who decides, it's the person who decides, everybody is treating him like he is him. He is acting like he is him, but he's not him. And they don't just say, well, he's not him to me or he's not the prize to me. They just say, no, these guys aren't the prize. You just laid out a case for why they are the prize and how they think that. It's because their reality reflects it. So you guys are actually the ones that are delusional. So that's the second thing. Now, I could probably do 5 more if I go back and rewind it and listen to it and hear some of the other stuff, like some of the other things that they say. But this is just a main point that I want to drive home because I think I pretty much killed everything just with what I said just now. The chick at the end, they said that these chicks be quick to submit to these guys. And, when they meet us, we not going for that. And we got to be the ones to challenge that. I want you to notice something. These women are talking about Atlanta men, and they're actually going on dates with these men. And the one chick mentioned she's from New York, and she been down there for 7 years. You don't got to be down there. You can go back to New York. So niggas can motherfucking, feed you soup out of a Timberland boot. You could go up there. You could go back up there if that's the treatment you want. But you chose for 7 years. And even as you are actively doing this, you don't have any plans to move and go anywhere else. I mean, you're on a podcast with 4 friends that you have talking about Atlanta men, and you introduced the topic. So you're not going back to New York. You're not going back to slap box rats on a subway train. No, you're going to continue to stay down in Atlanta and date these men. So I just want to paint that picture very quickly that these women are talking about guys that they want, but they're trying to diminish the value of the men, trying to say that they are not the prize. And we won't even get deep on why they are doing that. It's just strictly ego. We're not going to get deep on that. But I just want you to know these are guys that they actually want. And these women are talking for 40 minutes before this about getting husbands and da-da-da-da-da, because that's the name of the podcast, Future Husband. But these women do not want to submit to men that they like. They feel like the submission either has to be earned or they just aren't willing to give it. But that's so funny to me that you guys are on a marriage podcast talking about how you want to get married and stuff like that. And y'all are upset that these guys are feeling themselves, but not only that, the other women are actually submitting to these men in whatever time frame they're doing it. They say it quick. And your whole plan, y'all trying to get married, your whole plan is to go to these guys that you want, the other women are submitting to, and introduce them to a lack of submission. That's your plan. Talk about delusion.
Because they expect
I'm not challenging it for anyone.
No.
I'm just being me, right?
They can take it or leave it.
Yeah,
That's it. Yeah. And it's so funny that you guys have said that because that's the reason why I decided I wasn't going to date here in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Because I met a few people and I noticed that he wanted me to pursue him.
Right.
Which is why I'm a Southern Belle.
that
I'm a
part.
Southern Belle, baby. I'm the prize.
That part.
Okay. And once you enter into this kingdom,
Yes.
like I posted the other day, right? I said, when you look at me, you may think that I'm a queen on the outside, but wait until you see the inside.
Hey.
Because I am the whole kingdom.
Come on.
And I understand.
Mind you, these are women in their 30s and 40s. Women got to get out of this like fantasy that they have, this like childish princess fantasy that they have in their head to where, oh, we queens. And because all of this shit she just said, as far as this queen shit and like the inside, like what is she even talking about? What is she even, it's childish, honestly. Imagine if men were on dating podcasts talking like they were superheroes and stuff like that. That's what this is. Like, I don't really get it. And it's like, these are really grown women. Like, we went from a serious conversation to her like, ooh, the princess. And, if you think I'm a queen on the outside, wait until you see the kingdom inside. Like, what the fuck? And this is the thing about it. Like, I can almost guarantee you through this whole 40 minutes, they have not talked about any value that they bring to men. Like none. But they're seeking marriage, and this is supposed to be a podcast about them finding husbands and stuff like that. Like, what are we talking about? Like, Y'all just got done down talking men, and now you bigging yourself up. But what are you willing to do for a man? And that's the issue. Like, these chicks don't really care to be of value to a man. I did a video the other day where a chick only showing 1/4 of her face, just 1/4. She said something along the lines of, you know, oh, don't let these men tell you that women ain't worth nothing. Da, 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 da. We don't think the women is worth nothing. Like, if we thought that, like, we wouldn't even care about their existence. We know that women have value. But the thing is, y'all don't give a fuck about being of any value to a man. You just don't give a fuck.
Understand the experience that I give men, that you will elevate. You will leave this relationship better. Okay?
Absolutely.
I want to know one thing.
On the first week.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
first week.
But we got to wrap up. Okay. This has been amazing. We got to do a part 2.
Yes.
This got to be ongoing. This has got to give me 5 girl. Give me 5.
Yeah, that's it. We not watching the outro. We not about to watch a bunch of yelling and it's just a girl. We not about to watch a bunch of that. So let me know your thoughts. I'm gone.